Good morning. It'll soon be good afternoon in another couple of seconds. Welcome to On the Edge, brought to you by my hat and my shirt by Botkeeper. Today I have the pleasure of probably having my youngest guest to go with me, the old guy. So this is the way the profession's shaping up. We're bringing in the new talent. Caleb Jenkins, enrolled agent. He began working for RLJ Financial Services way back in 2009. Boy, I think in 2009, I've already worked about 20 years. So this is a change. He currently leads the outsourced tax planning and business accounting services team. Caleb has been recognized as the youngest QuickBooks ProAdvisor in the global ProAdvisor program to become certified at the age of 16. Is that true, Caleb?
Yeah, I think since then I've been displaced on that title, but it was at least true then, at least according to Intuit folks.
Well, unbelievable. And a few of your awards, I'd like to share them. Top 10 QuickBooks ProAdvisor. I think you were the QuickBooks ProAdvisor of the Year in 2024.
That's correct.
Top 40 under 40. Member of the Wooded Institute. And you're a volunteer for, I'll call it Pound Salt Team, which I think works with missionaries and does some missionary accounting.
That's correct.
Welcome to the show. Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself besides all those awards? I think you do a lot. What do you do?
Yeah, so I spend my day a lot of times. I do a lot of research. To spend a lot of time on webinars and learning, and then I do a lot of connection with other folks in the industry through social media, and then I spend a lot of time trying to dig into apps in particular and try to understand the apps in the accounting ecosystem so that we can better serve our clients. And so trying to find the best apps that would make the best impact on our clients' accounting experiences. And then I am also involved on, our client onboarding process. So initial client meetings, and then handling them through the onboarding process. We have a series of meetings where we cover some education and then tech makeover for the client, and then also some other components that we discuss in that process. And then I would be involved to a partial extent on some of the tax portion for individual and business clients, more as a final reviewer slash manager of the process, maybe for some of that. And then probably the primary thing that I would do is just manage the client accounting services. And so, yeah, that's what I would spend a lot of my time doing.
Sounds like you're a busy person, especially as I look on your website. Intuit Pro Connect, Customer Tax Council, ADP, Accounting Advisory Board, Divvy Advisory Council, Wooded Advisory Council, co-host some of the things you've done. And that, I guess, fits in. You're always looking at apps. So are you trying to always find out on the edge what the best tech stack is to automate the entire process?
Yeah, I would say it's twofold. One is I do, we've got our client accounting services where we're doing outsourced accounting for our clients. That's kind of one sector. And then the second sector is I do a fair amount of project work. So if somebody just wants to convert from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online, let's say, and so it might not be our tax client or accounting client or payroll client or anything of that sort, but we will look at that, and it's kind of that's an initial conversation. It's kind of a get their feet wet working with our firms, and 50% of those plus will convert into a long-time client with us. But in that process, those project work I really like, because it gives me the opportunity not to have to think about adding a application that's part of our tech stack that we use for 100% of our clients, but it gives me the opportunity to go play with and test other products and think about what might be best for that specific client situation. And then through that I learn, and it's like, hey, that one worked, that one didn't work. And so before I mess around with implementing it on our client accounting service clients, then we can try it out on others. So I would say that that's a piece that I spend quite a bit of time on, is playing with that. So trying to see what works and what doesn't work, and then learning from that, and then creating a roadmap to add new apps or transition apps from one to the other inside of our CAS clients.
Okay, no, I appreciate it. I like to ask you, you're a young person, and said, I'm on my way out, you're on your way up. The future of accounting. Do you really need to be a CPA firm to grow an outstanding, and you've grown an outstanding practice in the future? Do you need to be a CPA, or what do you think, being that we're on the edge?
Yeah, so I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a CPA. I think it's a worthy credential, it's a worthy license. Those that get certified as a CPA, great, kudos to you. I started down that path, and I took various college classes and et cetera with that intention, and then over time I backed away from that because I had two primary reasons why I backed away from it. One was I thought that, and this was 10, 15 years ago, but it was like, hey, the technology is changing the profession. So do you really need the CPA credential for that? There's one primary thing that the CPA credential provides. One, the primary thing is the ability to audit financial statements. And most accountants that are CPAs do not do audited financial statements. And so really it's just the second piece then, which is brand recognition. And that's the primary benefit of a CPA, other than the ability to audit financial statements. So for the brand recognition piece, there's other ways to fill that void, and maybe even better ways to fill a void than just the CPA credential. So if you go out there and you, one, build a great website for your firm, you can attract clients. If you go out and get good reviews for your social, or for your Google presence, for Facebook presence, etc., then people can find you. At that point, I get maybe 1 out of 20, 50 clients that come to us that ask if I'm a CPA, whatever, and it's just a quick conversation to explain the difference between an enrolled agent, what I am, versus a CPA. So it's like, most of the time people don't care. Maybe again 1 out of 100 specifically care. So be it, whatever. Beyond that, the recognition is a piece of that. If you go out though and you build your presence again on web, social media is another key influence. So if you go out and master Twitter, X now, and LinkedIn and other places, I mean, now you build your brand and recognition through those places. And I would say today people know me not because I'm a CPA, because I'm not, but they know me because, in large part, because I've been out on social media for 10, 15 years. So yeah, I think that's how we connected way back originally too.
No, I agree 100% what you're saying, because I'm telling people, I teach college accounting, and I am telling them the exact same thing that you are telling them. If you don't want to do audit, and as a sole practitioner, I've done probably 4 audits in my life when I started out for my own firm, and then I said never again, because it's a lot of liability, too much to do. And the opportunity is exactly what you're doing. Your clients are coming to you because you're getting brand recognition. You're also getting a lot of favorable reviews from your clients that's saying you are helping them. Because I know if someone's struggling with business profitability, I'm reading from your LinkedIn, is the hassle of manually entering each transaction into QuickBooks a pain for you? Lack of profit, is that a pain for you? Well, if you answered yes, Caleb will help you reduce your taxes, automate your accounting, and this is what I like key: define your vision, mission, and purpose, because that's what it's all about. and
Yep.
that's what you're doing, and you don't have to be in audit to do that. I do think there is one necessary credential if you're not a CPA, and you have it. You got to be an enrolled agent because you've got to be able to represent your clients in front of the IRS, and you possess that. So
Yeah,
you got it all.
as long as you're doing tax, that's correct. If you're not doing tax, and then even the enrolled agent's not needed. But if you're doing tax, then I would agree. I would utilize the enrolled agent credential or with the IRS. So the other benefit too of it is it's a national certification. So there's no portability issues and no other problems, like maybe, again, it's been pretty easy probably with CPA for the last period of time, but as the CPA profession tries to figure out what they're doing with 150 hours and figure out all that type of stuff, and create issues potentially on portability and all that stuff, none of that's a problem. None of that's a concern with the EA credential because it travels with you wherever you go.
That's a good point. Let me ask a question. Since you brought up the tax and the client accounting services, do you think it's better when you're building a practice, even if you're focused on client accounting services, to say, hey, we'll do your taxes for you, or send them someplace else?
I think it depends on what you're interested in and accomplishing. So I think it never hurts to have a tax knowledge and a tax understanding. So when I meet with a new client, and some of this might be just because of how they find us on social media or on our website or whatever, but more often than not, tax is front and foremost in their mind. They think they're paying too much tax. They want to minimize the tax. They want to stay out of trouble with the IRS, etc. And the accounting services piece, it depends on the size of the business. So if it's a $5 million plus size business, then they care about the accounting more for internal purposes. But if it's a small mom and pop shop, whatever, most of them could care less about the accounting. They just view it as a necessary evil to do their tax return. And so for them, a lot of times they're just saying, hey, can you do my bookkeeping because I need to file a tax return? So then in that situation, helping them understand the implications of their decisions from a tax perspective, buying this new fixed asset, buying or doing various types of things, and that helps them accomplish their end goal for the business. And so making sure you're categorizing things properly for your bookkeeping from a tax perspective is critical and key to understanding how this impacts your long-term planning, particularly in the area of trying to flatten the peaks and valleys between years for tax purposes. That's one of the best forms of tax planning. So I might have a business that ends up with a loss one year, and I'm trying to do everything I can to increase their profit so that they're paying tax in those years. And then the years where they have massive mountains and peaks, I'm trying to flatten that. So I've been flattening the curve before COVID ever was a thing. So
Yeah, I like that. So when you get a new client, do you sit down with them and ask them what their vision is, what their mission statement is, and do you help them build that?
Not specifically, not as a built-in component of our onboarding, but I would say indirectly, yes. So it depends on, again, the size of the business and the nature of the business. If it's somebody that's a mom and pop shop, a lot of times that's not the primary thing that's on top of their head. I would love for it to become that way because that helps drive their decisions for the future. But sometimes they don't care about that. But as you grow in size, again, if once you cross $1 million, $5 million of revenue a year, or you start having 10, 20, 30 employees, it starts becoming critical and paramount for the business to develop those and to have a roadmap, and having the vision is your guiding star to help you make decisions in your company. And the mission is basically how we're going to get there. So the bullet points on your list of what does that look like and how does that and what does that all entail? Your purpose is, why do you get up every day? Why do you do this every day? And what does that look like?
I agree with you. I get up every day to play pickleball, so I got to figure out a better way to improve that. But where do I keep advising people now, and again, you're almost following the same route as I did. I actually became the CPA, but then I said it was all about technology, and I delved into technology to help people automate their process. I see the accounting process as being totally automated, from transaction to financial statement. I can say it's automated right now as far as I'm concerned, from transaction to general ledger, if you have the right setup, and then soon financial statements. Where do you see the role of an accountant changing in the future with generative AI coming into play?
Yeah, so I think the role is shifting, and it's been shifting for a long time. I mean, we've had bank feeds, we've had different things where somebody could utilize something to do a form of automation. So we've been able to take it from 100% manual in years past to 40% automated to 60, 70% automated. And we're pushing the I don't know, the 80, 90% probably today in that experience. Beyond that, I mean, it will likely help push it to almost near 100% automated on a lot of the other components. But the area that generative AI, I think, plays a role is helping the advisors become better advisors. So taking the data, analyzing the data, and creating suggestions and information that's in a digestible format for a small business owner, because a lot of them do not speak the speak of accounting. And so one of the things is we have to dumb down our language to the language of a small business owner. And I think generative AI does a beautiful job of that, and helping to break down the insights and information that maybe we're able to spot just natively ourselves, but we don't have a good way to communicate. And so I think that helps us in that respect.
Yeah, and I think we're going to find more and more generative AI enhancements, making it easier to connect to accounting apps and pulling out the information. I like what you said, dumbing it down, because like I would ask a question to generative AI to give me an answer. I say, can you do it again as if you're talking to a sixth grader? And it makes more sense then. So
Yep.
let me ask a question. This is from like Accounting Today, the September issue. Daniel Hood put out something called the Tech Ascendancy. Do you think you could work today without your smartphone?
Not according to the IRS anymore, at least, because they require you to have multi-factor authentication. So I think you have to have a smartphone now.
Okay, think back to the days when all it was a paper and pencil, and how you do things today.
That was before my day, but I mean, I remember my dad doing typewriter and different other stuff back then, and so I can't imagine that. I can't imagine filling out a tax return by pen, or paper. Or I mean, I remember my dad saying when he started, he would fill it out with all pencil, and then he would do all the calculations, and then when he was all finished with it and he was certain of it, then he would go through on a second copy and use a pen to write down the amounts to copy the data over. That's just an utter waste of time, especially then what he said was always frustrating. It's still frustrating today, but it's not near the same impact, but would be as a client, you finish the return, and then they say, oh, hey, I forgot to give you this W-2 or this 1099. Still frustrating in the sense that you got to now go redo it. But you don't have to redo all the calculations. Software does all the work for you today on the calculations. All my role today is to verify that the output appears and is accurate. So making sure that the logic is correct, not necessarily the calculations.
So, if you're advising younger people than yourself, what career to choose going forward. Would you advise people to go into accounting? Would you call it accounting, or would you call it something else, or would be a mixed name?
I would say, yeah, I definitely recommend to go into accounting because it's a critical way that we're able to have a deep relationship with the client. Like, I don't know of a different industry that maybe a doctor in one sense, but apart from the accountant, they get so deep into the aspect of their clients' lives. So we understand more about their life and their business a lot of times, and sometimes even their spouse knows. And so, which can be dangerous. There's maybe problems there, but then we enter areas of counseling or areas of advising, whatever, on different aspects of that. So it's a very noble and worthy profession on that. But I would argue or recommend to somebody not to just go the traditional route. Don't just listen to all the lectures and classes about filling out T sheets, whatever, for your journal entries or T journals, whatever. Like, don't waste your time on all that stuff. Like, maybe you need to understand basic components of debits and credit. I mean, I would recommend that, understand the basics, but then software does the rest of that. Go into the programming world and understand some programming so you can build your own code. That's something I kind of wish that I had known. I haven't ever went down the route of doing my own coding on things, so I'm limited to using what everyone else has developed for me. But even today, especially with some no-code products, that makes it a whole lot easier to go build your own integrations and build your own automations. So I would totally recommend that, and then build that kind of a experience where then you're unique, especially from the traditionalist, maybe not so unique from the new accountants entering the space, but colleges aren't teaching that still today. They're still teaching the pen and paper process.
100% agree. So you would say if you're advising someone to become an accountant, you're really telling them it's about helping the client through translating the data through advisory services instead of doing the typical compliance.
Yeah, it's about transforming their lives and maximizing their wealth. And wealth isn't just a financial number. Wealth is their happiness, their joy, their ability to sleep at night, their ability to all of those components. That's all a factor of their wealth.
Right, because I look at the goal of an accountant to help my client be more liquid, solvent, and profitable, be fiscally healthy, and achieve the goals that they have in life to keep them happy. I think we're somewhat saying the same thing. So even though I'm old, I almost understand you, because I consider myself a millennial in a baby boomer's body. But we'll work that. I appreciate all the insight you're giving people.
When are you going to say that you're a Gen Z in a boomer body?
I got to look that up and look at the age limit again. I have that in front of me somewhere over here, so I got to check that out. I can't age, but if someone wanted to get a hold of you, follow up, and look to you for inspiration, how would you recommend they get a hold of you?
I mean, follow me on X or LinkedIn is a great way. Send me a message on either platform. I'll try to get back to you on either site there, or send me an email, caleb@rljfinancial.com, or you can also reach out. I have another business, caleb@jenkinsconsulting.us is the second way to reach out to me. Either of those, I try to get back to folks that reach out to me.
I appreciate it. Are you on TikTok or Instagram out of curiosity?
I am on Instagram, but more for personal use rather than for. I do have a business profile set up for our RLJ firm on Instagram, but I don't have a lot of. I don't use it much for the work world. For Instagram, TikTok, no, I don't have TikTok. So.
Okay, I appreciate it. What's the difference between the RL Jenkins and the consulting?
Yeah, so the Jenkins consulting is primarily what I've done to work with app companies. So I've consulted with a very variety of different companies and helping them build out their products and consulting them to what accountants need and want and desire, and building out their accountant dashboards and portals and pages for accountants, or onboarding experience for accountants, even marketing to accountants. So a lot of that stuff, and that's where I do some of my writing and speaking engagements through, especially when they're paid engagements. So, yep.
No, I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you being on the edge, brought to you by Botkeeper. You've given me some food for thought as I work my way out the door. Yes, I promise you it'll be soon, Caleb. I've been saying that for 15 years, but I have fun doing what I'm doing, just like you have fun doing what you're doing. So,
well, I hope you still come to the conferences, because it would be a missing place if you quit coming.
Well, I do add levity to it, and I appreciate everything about you. I think you're one of the true inspirations for people. You're genuine, you're honest, you have a unique perspective, and I think you'll always be on the edge because you're playing with those apps and that technical consulting all the time, looking for a better way. So thank you for being on the edge, brought to you by Botkeeper. Look forward to seeing everyone at AI Unchained. Coming up October, I think, 8th, 9th, and 10th. And maybe we'll see you there. And thank you once again. Della, could you pull the plug for today?